Music.
And welcome to Relationship Soup. I'm your host, Lisa Hughes. Happy Tuesday. How y'all doing today? How was your weekend? How's your week going so far? Was your week good? Y'all good? Well, I hope y'all good. Listen, my weekend was really good. I really can't complain. I'm so blessed for, my friends and family and all that stuff. You got to love them people that you blessed with. You hear me? So anyway, y'all, thank y'all so much for joining me today. Y'all know that every week I'll be so grateful when you join me. And y'all know I'm going to do my spiel. I'm going to get to that in a minute, right? Tonight's show is going to be Chef's Kiss. I'm already speaking it. I'm already claiming it. I'm just saying. So anyway, I just want to thank all of you, every single one of y'all for pulling up. Whether you watching me live on Facebook, whether you watch this live on YouTube, or you watching the play, I see you, the replay that is. I see you, I love you, and I appreciate you, right? So anyway, let me know if y'all can see my comments in Facebook as well, because sometimes, I don't know what it is. Sometimes StreamYard and Facebook, they be like that couple, that toxic couple. They don't be wanting to communicate. So if you are watching from Facebook, please just put something in the chat so I can see that you're here. You can see all this, because I don't usually get to know stuff until either the live or somebody tell me, or I'll watch the replay myself. So anyway, thank y'all so much for joining me. And of course, before I get into this show, this dynamic guest, y'all know I must do my spiel for this episode. I'm telling you, y'all know I do it every show, and y'all should pretty much have it by heart, right? So anyway, please make sure that you're liking, subscribing across all platforms. YouTube is Relationship Soup dot or period. Yeah, somebody's like, why don't you just say dot sometimes, right? Period dot. It's Relationship Soup period or dot. Okay. And if you want to join the group, it's Relationship Soup Group. And if you want to follow me, it's Relationship Soup LLC. And of course, y'all know what I'm going to say. The greeting cards. We have the greeting cards. So make sure that you're hitting up the website at relationshipsoup.com. Right? Did y'all get all of that? Y'all got all that? I'm just saying. Did y'all get it? I'm just saying. I see y'all comments, and y'all know I'm going to bring it on. Y'all know I'm going to bring these comments on. All right, I'll do it now. What's up, J. Desiree Grisham? What's going on, fam? How are you? How's your week? Is your week off to a great start? Did you watch the fight this weekend? Right. I knew Terrence was going to take it. I knew Terrence was going to take it. I said that to my class, like it was a first name basis. And he was like, who's Terrence? Like Terrence Crawford? I'll be on a first name basis with people. I'm just saying, in my mind anyway. M. Woodson, what's the mathematics? I'm a weekend girl. Listen. Oh, yeah. You already know the SOS. I called it. And now it's going to be in my head for a little bit. It's already playing in my head. But I ain't going to sing it, though. I'm just saying. I ain't even going to sing it. Not today. Happy Tuesday, Mr. Norris. What's the mathematics? How are you? How was your weekend? How was your week? How's your week so far? Let me know. Speak to me. All right, y'all. So let me go ahead and get into this episode, y'all. I know that there's a little bit of technical difficulties. So, hey, look, charge the technical difficulties, not me paying my bill. You feel me? I'm just saying. So now I really do be paying my bill. I'm just saying. So anyway, like today's show, I think it falls in line with what I really hope for with Relationship Soup. Again, you know, the disclaimer, y'all know, y'all need to seek professional help, right? I'm not saying that y'all need to seek professional help. I'm just saying that, you know, the opinions of the show, listen, it's just opinions of my guests. It does not necessarily represent Relationship Soup, okay? So, you know, with anything, make sure that you're seeking professional counsel, you feel me? So I just kind of want to leave that with you as well, all right? All right, cool. So anyway, y'all, this is the 83rd episode. You hear me? And I know, let me see, my guest, it should be hitting the studio. Okay, so there go my guest right there. So I'm going to get my guest on here anyway. So listen, this is the 83rd episode, y'all. And like I said, I just really want to make sure, you know, that this show continues to plant seeds because you know what? Life be lifing, right? And, you know, and soup can be very healing. So, you know, I hope that Relationship Soup will continue to plant positive seeds and heal and keep that disclaimer in place because I don't need the inboxes. Hey, yo, no, I didn't already gave the disclaimer. You feel me? I didn't give the disclaimer already. All right. So anyway, so before I get into, let me go and just kind of sprinkle y'all what this show is going to be about today. So basically, we're really diving into a powerful theme, and it is so much needed. Even one of my students hit me up today, and it was just so refreshing, and it's just a reminder. It just really keeps it in front of me as far as, oh, professor, you know, when I come to your class, hold on, let me brush off my little shoulders a little bit. When I come to your class, like it really brightens my week. You know, I was kind of going through some things or whatever. And so I really need that uplifting, right? So today we're just really going to dive into, we're going to get into that because I have a speaker, a guest today that is very dynamic and powerful, right? That's going to plant some seeds of upliftment in you. So let me ask y'all this. Have y'all ever felt broken? Have you ever felt like life is life in so much that you just feel like you are too far gone? You can't get your center. You just cannot get back to self. Have y'all ever felt like that? I know I have. So today we're going to talk to my guest, my very special guest, Pastor Demetric Mordika, okay, whose own testimony about forgiveness, restoration, and hope for every stage of life. Listen. Chef's kiss, right? Because I had the pleasure of actually talking to Demetric and, you know, him telling me about his story. And I'm like, you got to come on the soup. Been trying to get him on the soup forever, but now he's here and we're going to get it in. So, you know, this show, there's something for everyone, right? You know, maybe it's a past mistake that still haunts you. Maybe life is really kicking your butt right now. Maybe you just feel like, man, I'm just ready to give up. Well, this show's for you. So no matter if you're single, married, couple, wherever you are, there's something in this show for you. So without further ado, let me go ahead and bring on my guest, Pastor Demetric Mordika. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Over and out, 10-4. Are you there? Can you hear me? Hello? Hold on, let me try that again. Oh, it seems like there's sort of a delay. Okay, so we're going to let him get that together or whatever. So, man, have y'all ever felt like that, though? Have y'all ever felt like y'all were just so far gone that there was no hope for anything, right? Have y'all ever felt like that? Because I know I have, you know, and so I cannot stress how important it is to try to find your center by whatever means, right? By finding that whatever that is that's just going to get you centered into where you need to be. Now, Pastor, let me know when you're ready because I see you, but I see your name and I hear bits and pieces. Okay. So, and also turn down your phone too, or your sound on the other device, because I can hear that. Can you hear me? Are you there? Hello? Am I? Can everybody hear me? I just want to make sure that y'all can hear me. Somebody put something in the chat. Can you hear me, Pastor? Can you hear me okay? Because you're like frozen in time. Okay, so I'm gonna give him time to get in here. So anyway, so Jason, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you. So absolutely. And I know as a life coach, I'm sure that you probably have had experience with some of your clients that have felt that. What are some things that you've done for your clients to help them through that period of brokenness, or when they feel like giving up or whatever? What are some things that you've had your had your clients do? Like what advice have you given them? Okay, I'm just saying. All right, so tonality, life without permission or warning. You hear me? Life will sneak up on you so fast. You be thinking that you like going with the flow. You thinking that you are just on top, and then all of a sudden it has a way of like just knocking you down, right? And sometimes you recover quick, and sometimes you don't, right? Sometimes that recovery be a fool, and sometimes it be quick. So anyway, so Reese, what's some things that you do when you hit that, like when life starts life, and like what are some things that you do to get through it? Talk to me. So Derek says, no, but I have felt terribly broken, still do sometimes. Absolutely. And, you know, that's something that we've kind of talked about on a previous show, how it's an ongoing journey. And I know even with myself, sometimes when I've gotten into those places, it's just like, okay, and I'm doing the work and I'm doing this, and then say I fall back down again. It's just like, yo, I have to come to realize that, you know, it's ongoing, because even though you're doing the work and different stuff like that, it is really an ongoing journey. I'm just saying. And you have to give yourself grace, because that's something that we was going to cover as well. And I've used that word so much, that grace word, but it is so true. And it really resonates with me, because those that are very close to me know that me and grace, giving self grace, I'll give everybody else grace. Right? But self, that grace piece, I'll be like, nah. Well, I used to be, because the old me is dying. Right? I'm just saying. So let's see here. Yeah, I know you hear me, Derek, for real. Like, I'm telling you. All right, so I don't know where my guest is. I know that he's having some technical difficulties. Let me do something that I ain't never really done before. I'm gonna go ahead and Facebook call during the show, because I need to know what's going on. You feel me? Because if we need to pivot to something else.
Oh, yeah.
Demetric.
Yeah.
What's going on? My guest is look, my listeners is looking for you.
Man, this internet, you know what? The devil be at work, right?
See, I know. See, we talked about that.
And we have the internet fine. We was just fine.
Yeah, because we did our sound check. That's one thing that I do is sound checks. I don't come on blind. You feel me? Yeah. So are you, do you want to try to get on through your phone? Are you able to do that?
Yeah, let me try that.
Yeah, log on through your phone. You feel me? See, my listeners is going in on you, Demetric. So you better get in here.
I don't know what happened. I'm kind of upset about it, but I'm gonna let it be.
Don't even get upset about it. See, because that's what we do. Sometimes we put forth energy in stuff that we shouldn't, when we should save that energy for the positive. You feel me? So just log on through your phone. Hit that link that I gave you and log in through your phone.
Doing so now.
All right, then. I'll see you in a minute.
Yeah.
All right. See, that's what I'm saying. So, you know, sometimes it just seems like it be forces, right, to try to stop what you got going on. Because listen, I always prepare. Look, I like to stay ready, so I don't have to get ready, right? So we're going to give Demetric some time to get in here, and we just going to have a little powwow meanwhile. So anyway, so let me see what y'all saying. I ain't going to bring that comment on, because Trey, you know you wrong, Trey. You know you wrong, Trey. You are not right. Right? You ain't right, Trey. Because, okay, now, listen, I know it's just not my show or StreamYard. Sometimes technical difficulties be happening, right? So I'm just saying, it ain't always. I'm just saying. See, you ain't right. Trey, thank you for joining me, Trey, by the way. I appreciate you. And I needed that little comic relief. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? I know I'll be, keeping it together, but a little comic relief don't never hurt. So I appreciate you for joining me. Cracking up at y'all fool. All right, so let's see here. So Tenali says, my go-to things I do to get through is prayer, working out, music, playing it in my car, live concerts, spreading light and love to others. Absolutely. And you know what, Reese, I can truly say that has worked for me as well. Like, especially like when I'm feeling down or whatever, actually reaching out and helping others it is so healing, right? And it don't have to be nothing real big. I'm just saying, just being able to do that. So Jason, Coach Boyd says, when we delve into, it's actually more of a mental block than an actual problem. Unfortunately, depression is too common, and we gravitate to what's familiar. So we reflect and start to see this. Absolutely. It's crazy how depression can feel like routine in normal life. Some people don't even realize that they are actually going through it, right? But anyway, hopefully with this show, we're going to plant some seeds to help people out of that rut, or at least to help them start that journey. All right. So you ready? Dimitri? You ready? You ready to get in this room? All right. So hi, Dimitri. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I apologize for whatever just took place, but the most important thing is we here now. How are you?
I'm well. You look, I believe in divine timing. You feel me? Like, hey, it still works out for the good, right?
Amen. God time is always good timing.
Hey, I don't want it if it ain't the divine time. I don't even want it, because see, I done learned in life trying to rush things, trying to go on my time. It don't even.
Mm-hmm. You miss when you rush. You miss something.
Absolutely. So this is right on time. And plus, sometimes my listeners just want a little time with me before my guests come on. So we didn't got that in there, right? So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I know that we've been trying to get this together for a while now, schedules and stuff like that, but you're here now. So this is the right time, and I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. All right. And to my listeners, y'all know how we do. I've already put the link in the thread. So if you want to get in this studio, feel free to come in here. If you got questions or whatever, feel free, because hey, that's what we do on the Stoop. All right. So do you want me to call you Pastor Dimitri or Dimitri?
Whatever you feel comfortable with.
Okay, I just let the spirit rule. You hear me? Okay. All right, so here we go. So can you please tell my listeners a little bit about your personal journey and how you came to experience God's grace in your own life?
Sure. Well, I'm Pastor Dimitri. My ministry started in the streets. Mm-hmm. I have some trials and tribulations in my life, like we all do. I always tell my congregation that, like, I got tired of losing, and it was time for me to start winning. But with no knowledge of knowing, the true meaning of winning, I went from wins in a fleshly way, material possessions, those things. And I remember having everything that I wanted, but nothing that I needed. And that was like one of the worst mental states that I ever endured. And I just started praying to God, because I knew something was missing, because I felt empty. Even though I had a house full of whatever, a garage full of whatever, I had a heart full of nothing. And I started submitting myself to God. I went through a Muslim stage for a while, just on a search for God, basically. And when I got reintroduced back to the church, and I just felt like it was home for me. But then that's when it got very challenging. I started praying that God would bring me back to Him. And I prayed this particular prayer, that He would take everything that's not from Him and take everything that He didn't give me. When you pray for something, you better be ready for it too. Because we could pray for things, but are you really ready to receive what you're praying for? Because when we pray for things, we think it's gonna come in a gift wrap, just like our little mind thought it would come or projected would come, but I woke up with nothing. You know, a threat for divorce, uh, cars repo, uh, just just everything that that I haven't experienced in my in that moment. But I'm sitting there thinking like, well, I prayed that God take things away that He didn't give to me and that wasn't for me. But I didn't know that He didn't give me these things that I thought that I had, the things that I held valuable to me. Uh, so He just started removing those things. And God got a way of humbling you, and He also got a way of setting you to the side. Scripture said He'll set you apart, right? And that apart be your darkness. So I went to a dark place in my life because my gods was my material possessions and my family in that moment. My kids was my God, my wife was my God. Whatever I had to do first, and what you do is what you do the most is what you worship. And I was in the smoking and stuff like that. So God stripped me from everything, and I was left with nothing. No friends, family gone. Uh, my health started declining, and I couldn't go nowhere but to God. So I surrendered my will. I just started getting deep and deep into prayer. And one night I had me a little blunt rolled up, right? And I said, I started feeling convicted. So I never was feeling conviction on the things I was doing. And I'm not saying this for everybody, but this is for me. Uh, so I started feeling convicted, and I remember going down to get something to eat because I had the munchies.
Of course, that will be happening, right?
Yeah, right. So I'm in my mind. I'm speaking to God. My spirit speaking to God. The flesh is weak, but the spirit is willing.
Mm-hmm.
So I goes back upstairs to the room, and I got the little piece of blunt in the ashtray, and I was like, God, if this is wrong, take it from me.
Mm-hmm.
So I went down to my knees and I said, God, if you real, reveal yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, instantly, it started raining, start hitting my window. And the way my house set up, that rain never hit my window. We didn't been through those tornadoes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that it was a sign from me to God. And after that, I said, I surrender. But in that moment, I was dealing with myself. I was dealing with my ego. I was dealing with my pride. I was dealing with rejection,
Mm-hmm.
uh, guilt, failure. So I got to a point where I thought about suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I already had planned it out. I made this little pallet in my garage, cut the lights off, and I was like, what am I needed for? Because you live for one's exceptions, you're gonna die from their rejection.
Mm-hmm.
So because of their rejection, because of people rejection, because I didn't have what I thought I should have, that I felt like I was nothing. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I went to that garage, I put the gun in my mouth, I thought about it, and I said, let me give my kids something. Let me send somebody something. So I hit my screen, and I did a little recording, put the gun back in my mouth. I clicked it, it jammed.
Ooh.
My daughter and my son picture popped up on my backdrop screensaver, and I heard something say, like I won't say heard, but I felt it. I just felt this thing like like rise up.
Mm-hmm.
You've been redeemed. You belong to me. And I seen my kids, and when I seen my kids, I realized that I'm not finna hurt the ones that hurt me, but I'm finna hurt the ones that really truly love me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at the weakest point in my life, and like, and I told myself that I would never become that weak version of myself again. I got on my 2 feet, uh, and I said, God, I'm sorry, and I'm done. And I went to my room. My twin brother came in the house because he kind of felt something, and he came in the house and he was like, "Bro, what's going on with you?" And he kind of said, "I said I don't want the pistol, I don't want nothing in the house." And I knew that the enemy had control of me, that he had me in a stronghold. So
Mm-hmm.
I went to prayer. I went to deep prayer. I went to prayer, and like usually when I pray, I pray and ask for something, but this time it was different. I went into prayer, and I
Mm-hmm.
stayed there until God said something to me. I fell asleep. I fell asleep on my knees, waiting for God to say something. I woke up, days went by, no friends, no nothing. I said, God, I need something. He gave me a task. That task was one of my one of my friends was dying. And during this point, God had already had me in street ministry. I'm back in the same street that I served at. So the same street that I served at, committed crime, whatever you may have, that I was there holding the sign telling people that God love you, Acts 3:19, pull over for prayer. And when I say it was humbling, and that was one of the most gangsters thing that I ever done. I thought that I was somebody when I was in the street, in the hoods. I had pistols, I had friends, but that was a coward way. I was out there with a sign, but I had somebody that was way more powerful than anything in this world, and that was a God, and I had anointing, and I wrote it on this little board, and I know people didn't see it. I was just hoping, and so enough people pulled on for prayer. But I had a mutual friend that was passing. My friend called me and said, "Hey, I need you. Let's go to war." And we went to warfare with him for 7 days. He ended up passing, and come to find out, his father was a pastor. He's like, "I seen you on the streets." And right before God gifted me this church, I was on 25th and Sherman Drive with this sign. I walked into that store to get something to drink, and when I came out, his car came down the street. This guy got shot in the head and hit the street pole right where I was at.
Oh my gosh!
God indicated that, like, I'm giving you a hedge. I'm giving you some cover. And ever since then, I went into the church. I didn't know what to do. The pastor was like, "Here, God put this on my heart. This is your church. I give you the code." I was standing in the back of the pew like, "God, I don't know what I'm doing." Like, you gonna give it to me? Like, you gonna give it to little old me? I ain't holy enough. I ain't smart enough. And God said, not only is you holy enough, I'm gonna give you a keys to my kingdom. And ever since then, I've been obedient.
You know what? And in that moment, so that would be kind of similar to Gideon, because Gideon didn't think that he was worthy, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll be doing a little something. I'll be paying attention to Bible study.
Absolutely, because none of us are worthy, but because God said so, we are.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this, because I thought it was so deep, and I remember seeing a meme online. It was like a meme or something. It's like, be careful what you pray for, because it might be your significant other that end up being what God takes away from you. So let me ask you this, because I've even had this conversation, on the podcast and stuff like that. Like, do you feel like, because hindsight is always 20/20, like, do you feel like there was a nudging before you got married to not move in that direction?
No, I don't think I was really aware, because I didn't have God in it.
Okay.
So when you went to because a wedding and a marriage is God. It's a God. It's godly, right? And when you getting married, you have to have God in the center. If you don't got God in the center in the marriage, it's already gonna fall. So I didn't have God with me, so I really didn't have nothing. I didn't know how to be a man. When a man's only a man when he finds something that's higher than him to submit. I didn't know who I was until I found God. I feel like I led my family wrong, even though I was a good person. But what is good for God? Good ain't good enough for God, right? We need to just walk in His word. And no, I thought I was doing everything right. I was my own God, So no, not until I started building a relationship with God, I had that nudge. Like, but it is signs, telltale signs, even for myself, not to get married. But because we're so amused by the idea, it just sounds good. But I'm not downplaying my marriage. Like, it was beautiful to share that with somebody.
Oh, absolutely.
And I would definitely do it again. And this time I get a chance to do it right. All glory to God.
You can come to it with wisdom and with with God as your backing. You know what I mean? As in your center, which that makes a lot of sense. Because when I have conversations, especially relationships and marriages, or some of the stuff that we discuss in the soup, it's always so interesting to hear people's perspective. Like, oh, well, the hindsight's 2020. Man, I had a sign, or I had this or that. And so, it's about being able to decipher, okay, is this from my higher self? Is this from God? Or is this, my insecurity? Is it, my lower self, the devil, whatever, right? So I think that's just really, just being able to pinpoint that,
that discernment. God calls us to have that discernment.
That discernment piece. Right. Look, my discernment needed to do a workout, because my discernment was like, what?
Mine too. That discernment comes with building a relationship with God.
Absolutely. I think that is very important. So let me ask you this. So why do you think that so many people struggle with believing that, they can be forgiven? Like,
I think it's because it's hard to forgive ourselves. And that kind of holds you back when it's hard to forgive yourself for the decisions you made, or for how you allow somebody to treat you, or how your life with childhood was. And it's a self thing. It's a self-reflection thing. And I think that's the core of it. But we're never too far, we're never too far or too deep in the hole for God to reach us, or for God to pull us out. God say he don't call the equipped, he equipped the calling, which means that all you got to do is have that faith of a mustard seed. No matter how dirty you is, how much dirt you got on your hand, how much blood on your hands, dirt on your tongue. Look at Moses. He was a murderer and hid for 40 years, and God found him. He was scared. He said, come out, I got something for you to do. And look what he did. He led his people out of Israel. So it's really like the world's trash is God's treasure. So you're never too far, and it's all about building a relationship. I always say, we tried everything. Why not try God? Try God. Why not? We tried everything else.
Now, let me ask you this, because something that you said earlier in when you were telling my guest about you, like, how do you determine? Because, I've read about this, had conversations about this, heard sermons about this. How do you know, like, when you are putting something above, God, like, because people can put their children, spouse, or, cars, houses, right? That golden calf don't necessarily have to be like the golden calf. You know what I mean? Like, it could be you worrying about your appearance or different things. So, like, how do you know that you're doing that? Like if you could just put in layman's terms, what are the telltale signs?
First of all, one of the first signs is forced. When things feel forced, then you forcing something that ain't probably meant to be there, or probably not meant to happen. Another sign, when you look around and God ain't nowhere around, God coming last in order in your life, where you might make time for God. That is the huge sign right there, when God is nowhere around. And until you need something, until you have that genie mentality. And another one is if it don't line up to the word. If it don't line up to God's word, then we got a problem. But when you look around and God ain't nowhere around until you want something, that's that telltale sign. And when it hurts, and when you're struggling, and when it ain't, because God said that, when He give you, you don't gotta force it. It's love. He say love. Love ain't forced. So I think those are telltale signs.
I can see that. I can see that, because I was thinking about, it was a sister that I follow online, and like, she has great success with like her business. She podcasts, different things like that. And she was talking about how that word, forcing it. Like, she was like, she didn't really have God in it, and it just didn't really align. So she kind of took a step back, centered herself, prayed, and did some things, right? And where she was able to, really connect with, God, and, just really kind of like basically not be attached to certain outcomes or whatever. She said that things really began to flow, because I think sometimes we can want something so much, but if it's not divine timing for it, if, the proper, if things just are not in place, alignment, if you will, I think sometimes that's when the forcing can happen. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't time for her, and she was forcing. She was sounded like she was doing her due diligence, but it was forced because it was a divine timing thing, and she needed to kind of step back, probably be pruned, right? Probably work on self, because sometimes you have to step back and work on self, and then come back to it for it to come together. Well, first with put God first and foremost, right? It's that pruning, because maybe it's not meant for that time, but once you step back, whatever, put God in there, work on self and all that, then it could come back together. So
because
I just thought about her story.
As humans, we want it right away.
Like, listen.
We want it right away. We pray for it, we want it right away, and we go before God. Like, what's the point of praying if you're gonna go before Him anyway?
Right.
So it's like, and also that we have plans, but God got purpose. So we can plan all we want, but if it don't line up with God's purpose, you're not gonna succeed. It's gonna fail every time.
Yeah, that makes sense. That really makes sense. All right, so let me ask you this: how would you personally define being far from God? I think I know the answer, and I think you kind of already said it, but just like being far from God, how would you define that?
Kind of back what I said previous. When God nowhere around. Another one is when you take inventory of your friends, and none of them got God in their life. When you always feeling feeling like you're carrying a burden, you always feeling broken. You always you going through things. You can't let trauma go. You can't let hate go. You can't forgive. Those are those things right there, and those things right there will kill you internally, inside out.
Absolutely. Yet, that not forgiving piece, that resentment piece, that anger piece, all of that. Yeah. Would that qualify as drying your bones and making you be sick or something like that?
Yeah. And, forgiveness is a new word, because, God was like, you forgive or else, so forgiveness new, like the order is you got to forgive. So that forgiveness is a new word, in our dying age. So those are the things. I know that I knew I was far away from God when I felt empty, when I felt alone with a room full of people. And I just felt alone. I felt lost. I felt unheard, not understood. But at the same time, it's people who's they're nice to me. They speaking to me. I had a lot of people around me, but it was for myself. And that was one of the biggest ones right there. Like, dang, I'm missing something. What am I missing? I got everything that I thought that would fix me, but I'm still broken. Yeah. So, those are one of the signs a few of the signs for me.
Yeah, that really makes sense. And I read so much, right? And I was reading because I'm really into like holistic and stuff like that, and how I think, because I can speak for myself, just my own life lived, that when I was very resentful, right? Because there were some things in life where I was like, man, for real? Okay. That's what's up. I internalized it. I didn't forgive easy. And I've even said that on my podcast. I didn't always forgive easy. I was like, man, I'm going to be human first. But I was human real long, And eventually it made me so sick, because I think sometimes when we have disease in our body and stuff like that, again, y'all know, medical professional. Okay, let me put that disclaimer out there. But when we have disease in our body, when we, go through things physically, our health, how that could be linked to not being a forgiving person, unforgiveness. You have all this resentment, all this hate, all this anger. You're holding on to stuff. Which adds to you being sick. I can speak to myself personally, because, I can say that I was very resentful, and, I ended up like getting high cholesterol. And if you see me, I'm not very big, what I mean? I'm very health conscious and stuff like that. But I knew, okay, I got to get it together because, I was holding on to stuff, and, so that's why, even now in where I am in my walk, if you will, I just try to forgive. And I to be resentful. I try not to hold on to stuff. You know what I'm saying? But anyway,
all those things linked to sin. You know, like I was trying to forgive, but I was forgiving the wrong way because I was forgiving somebody for them to acknowledge me that I forgave them. But you know, the forgiveness ain't for them; it's for you because you the one carrying the burden.
Facts. You the one that gonna be getting sick. You the one that gonna be messing up your health.
Yeah, and in reality, you have to deal with the fact that people might not ever care or ever feel bad about how they did you. So the forgiveness for you.
It gotta be for you.
Mm-hmm.
It gotta be for you. And I feel that so much. And I've talked about that too on the show where, you know, it's like, you know, as far as closure, right? You know, I will take closure. You know what I'm saying? I will absolutely take an apology and stuff like that. But I also know that some people just ain't gonna give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
They give it to you. So you got to have that own peace in your heart. You have to establish that for yourself. And I think once I've done that, just with my personal experience, that even energetically, it just seems like those people come back. And they be like, you know, I'm sorry how I did you 10 years ago.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Closure is one of those things where you waiting for somebody to tell you something to make you feel like the situation is okay, but it never will, because it's, you know, closure is a cracked door. Just close it. If you're gonna close it, you're gonna close it. Otherwise, close is a cracked door. You still wondering and still interested some way, somehow, and invested. Close the door.
Listen, absolutely. Let's see. I do see that we have some comments. Let's see. I'm going to bring those on in a second.
Okay.
What else do I want to ask you? And thank you so much for sprinkling my listeners. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for the invite.
Oh, absolutely. Let's see here. Let's see here. Okay. So like in your ministry, right? And I think that you it's kind of been introduced. So in your ministry, like what practical steps do you like encourage people to take when they want to reconnect with God? Like because we definitely know your plight, right?
Yeah.
So, like, what are just some practical steps if they like, you know, to get people to reconnect? Because I mean, life happens, church hurt happens, life happens. It's just like, for real, God, that's what we doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Happens. So like, what steps do you tell people to like reconnect with God?
One thing I tell them, this is one of the first things that I say: get off the cross. God already He's already died on the cross. He didn't tell us to stay on the cross and be crucified and be talked about and be whipped and deal with childhood traumas and burdens. He told us to get off the cross, pick up the cross, and carry it and follow me, which means pick up your burden, pick up your childhood trauma, pick up your regrets, pick up your doubts, carry it to God and bury it. What did he do with the cross? What did he do with the cross before he died? He took the cross, and guess what he did? He buried it. So it's time for us to bury all those things. We have to bury all those things. The steps is to acknowledge that it happened to you. Another one is acknowledge that you wasn't good enough for certain people. Acknowledge that you are not this perfect person. We will all fall short to the glory. Take those burdens, take it to the cross, to the foot of Jesus, and leave it there. That's the first thing first. Like you are not what you've been through. You're just not. You're not what you've been through. You're not what you didn't have, and what you did have. That's you are not that. So the first step is acknowledging that you need help, and acknowledge that the only person that can help you is God. Take it to the foot of Jesus and leave it there. You know, that was one of the things I preach a lot. Bring it to the foot of Jesus and leave it. Like, leave it there. Don't get up with it and carry it with you, because you got to get off the cross. We don't got to be up there no more. We living in victory. Get off the cross.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
And if a person don't know what the cross is, then, you know, take them through the crucifixion. So that's the point of telling somebody, get off the cross. Somebody say, well, what you mean? Okay, well, let me take you through the sacrifice. Let me take you through somebody who died the way we should have died. Let me take you through somebody who was shamed and whipped and humiliated, but died because they loved you, even though you hated them. Let me take you through these things. You know, these are steps in life that we got to do. Washing the foot of our killer. Like, these are things that we gotta do. So you gotta get off the cross. Let that hate, all that stuff go, because somebody who already did it.
That makes sense. So let me bring on a couple of these comments, and then I do have another question for you. Okay. So let's see here. So, truth, forgiveness of ourselves is the hardest. Absolutely.
Amen.
Oh, Mark. Man, I tell you what. Ooh, Mark, you ain't told no lies. That be the thing, forgiving yourself. Okay?
Forgiving yourself. That's the key.
Yes, absolutely.
Because how can I forgive you if I haven't forgave myself? It's impossible.
Absolutely, right? Events or actions intended to cause harm, pain, or destruction, but God ultimately turns good. Yes, absolutely. Genesis. Absolutely.
Preach.
Oh, for God so loved the world that he gave his only. Absolutely.
Preach. Come on now. Hey, don't give me the preaching. Well, I'm already here, but don't get me started. But look.
Hey, in the Sunday service or the Wednesday service.
Don't give me shower, because Lord know I will. He gave his only forgotten son. I don't know nobody who would get a son away.
Listen.
I ain't met one yet.
Listen.
Not for somebody who hate him or did not even acknowledge him. Come on, like, don't get me the preaching.
Hey, listen. So let me ask you this though, because just like, again, I always want to, plant seeds for people to be uplifted, right? So to the men listen to my podcast right now, what's a word that you have for them? Because there are some men right now that are really struggling, that are going through it mentally, spiritually, physically, right? Of course, and you know how I feel about my brothers. You've watched my podcast. You know how I feel about my brothers. Everybody, but I really empathize with what my brothers out here, right? So what advice do you have for them?
Put some God in your life. Find something higher to submit to. Like, because if you don't find God to submit to, you're your own God. And let go and let God. Like, and one of the hardest things for me was letting my pride and my ego go. Burying your ego and you got to bury your ego and bury your pride. And what that looked like is, I'm gonna say this for myself. I found out who I was when I found out what I wasn't. I wasn't this strong person that I thought I was. Because what strong person is ready to kill themselves? That's a coward. I wasn't a man that I thought a husband that I thought I was. Because what husband don't protect his wife? So I found out who I was when I found out what I wasn't.
Okay.
And I found that when I found God. I wasn't a man until I found God. So put some God in your life. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to me. I'm on Facebook. I'm on wherever. You can come to me. I'm wherever. You come to me. I work for God. I don't work for men. I work for God. So I'm available. I am available. But yeah, I find God. Put God in your life. I promise you, you won't regret it. I'm a living testimony. I'm living proof, from the streets to the pulpit. And it's only by God's grace, only by God's work. Nothing that I did. It was all by God's work, because that's what grace is. Grace is God's work, not my own. It's given. It's a gift. It ain't earned. You can't earn grace.
That makes sense. So for the women listening, right? Because we hitting all these categories, right? We probably gonna get like one true false in, but that's okay. So for the women listening, what advice do you have for them? I know this would go across the board. Right?
Absolutely. For the women is use your discernment. God called women a powerful help, right? And anything like, not to discredit nothing, but like if you make something the first time, right? You're gonna you make this, right? But the second time you're gonna make it what the first thing was missing. Right? So you're gonna make the second thing. So for me it's women, follow your discernment and protect your heart. Start giving your heart to people who ain't showed you that they can protect it. Stop following men who leading you to dead ends that don't know God. If he ain't got God in his life, he can't lead you. I promise you that. He's only going to have you submit to him. So my thing to women is use your discernment. You got that gift. Don't go against it. uh, and continue to build your relationship with God. That's both parties. Build a prayer life with God. What is your prayer life like? Build a prayer life. Don't give your love to people. Give your love to God, and God gonna give you things that gonna love you back.
That makes sense.
That's the both parties.
Okay. So what about for okay, so we got men and women, and again, it can go across the board. What about for the married couples out here? Married couples. What?
Hey, put God in the center. Listen, if you don't put God in it, you only gonna bring out the worst in each other.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Put God in the center of your marriage, because God is gonna be the glue that's gonna keep it together.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because marriage is a God thing, and once you get married, the enemy gonna attack.
Mm-hmm.
And the longer you stay in the marriage, the more he's gonna attack.
Mm-hmm.
So put God in the center. I promise you that. I'm speaking off experience. If put God in the center, and I promise you, your marriage is gonna be holy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And you're gonna get what God you're gonna inherit it what God said in the kingdom, because God said we can inherit things from the kingdom.
You know, that is really good advice. I think that's really good advice. And, just like even for, like I think, even for couples out here, right? Because I feel like some couples do have a kingdom purpose. Like they have a purpose that they're supposed to accomplish together. And I feel like I was actually watching this reel. This is so on time. I was watching this reel, and it was talking about how, have you ever noticed like certain relationships that you knew you shouldn't even been in? I'm paraphrasing, by the way, right? And how it just seemed like it just go, ain't no issues, none of that, right? But when there's possibly someone that is a calling, if you will, or that you have purpose with, it's all this drama, it's all this different, you know what I mean? So I think that it is really important to, like you said, that discernment piece, rely on God and stuff like that, because I just feel like this, even for my life, if I'm looking at things, I can, kind of see, hindsight always 2020.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yep. And sometimes we the problem.
That's facts.
Yeah.
Listen, that accountability piece, like being able to take time and look at self, because at the end of the day, you can fool everybody. You can fool everybody, but that mirror is cold-blooded, right? You really have to psych yourself out especially when you know that you're not being accountable about certain things. But hey, that accountability piece is everything. It absolutely is. Yeah. So let me do this, because I want to get a true false in here, right? And then I'm gonna wrap it up and get out of here, because y'all know what today is, Tuesday. Now, Pastor Dimitri, you know how I be on a Tuesday by the end of the show.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's see here. So what about this one? Let's see here. All right, here we go. Let's do this true, false, right, y'all. And I'm gonna bring this on. I know it's kind of like a little delay, so let's see here. All right, so here we go. So true or false, forgiveness and second chances can help rebuild relationships and restore hope. What you think? Pastor? What you think?
Okay. Forgiveness, yeah. Second chance, I don't know that difference, because it's hot. You can't properly heal from a wound if you keep going back to the butcher. So forgiveness, letting go and letting God. I think forgiveness is definitely one, but second chances, you can't give a person second chances because they stab you again. But I guess it's on different circumstances. I guess
So you're saying it's a case.
Second chances can be real bribe. So I don't know.
Okay, and that's fair. That's fair, because of course, y'all, now listen, let me put this disclaimer out there. Case by case. It's really tough to say a general answer for everyone, right? Because even if I'm speaking on my parents, right, as far as the second chances, a second chance was given and they had over 40 some years of marriage. You know what I'm saying? They broke up. They worked on self. They worked on self. Then they got back together, and then it was 40 some years, right? You know, they got married, you know, and they was blessed with 40 some years together. So that's why I'm just saying it's a case by case.
So we can say true. I go with true.
Okay, so you're gonna go with true. All right, so let's see here. I see y'all comments. I see y'all. All right, so the answer is true, right? It said, and this is as per the Journal of Positive Psychology, Social Science Research on Forgiveness. So the answer is true. And it has research to back it up. So, I mean, you know, sometimes second chances, you know, you just have to discern if that's what it is. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. All right. So what do you think about this one? Let's see here. It's so many of them. You know, I always have a whole bunch of true false because, you know, you don't never know how that's going.
Right.
Okay, so let's see here. Let's look at this one. This question right, Sean. Take that number off because I know it is a slight delay. All right, so true, false. People who struggle repeatedly with the same issue can never experience transformation. Is that true or false? What y'all think? True or false? What you think, Pastor? What you think?
Oh, that's false.
You think that's false?
Yeah, I think that's false because, you know, we struggle, but eventually we're gonna get tired of struggling, and you know we're gonna want something. We're gonna want something different. We're gonna try something different. I think that's false. You know, because I'm a prime example. I was struggling, and then I made that decision to change, something. So yeah, it's reparation. So no, that's false.
Okay. All right, I like it. Anybody else? I thought I seen Holly. Okay, I see you, Holly. I'm gonna bring your comment on here in a second. All right, so Trey Subby says false. Derek says false. Tonali says false. Mark Lee says false. Mirror will review
That's a fact.
Yeah, so false. The answer is false. Recovery studies on habit change and resilience, and this is from the American Journal of Psychiatry. Okay, so all right, that's true. You know, yeah, absolutely. All right, so this is what I'm going to do, Pastor. Thank you so much for joining me. Tell my listeners where they can find you, because I'm going to go ahead and close out the show and all of that. You know how I do at the end. So tell my listeners where they can find you, and I'll also put it in the thread. Okay,
I'm at. You can reach me on Facebook, Pastor Demetric Mordecai. I do service every Sunday, 2930 Waterfront Parkway West Drive. Every Sunday at 11:30. You can come here throughout the week. I'm here at 11:30. Instagram, TikTok, Demetric Mordecai, Pastor Demetric Mordecai. And again, she's going to put the link there. So.
Okay, perfect. I will put it out there. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless you.
God bless. All right, boom. So, hey, look, so I hope that y'all found some seeds, you know, some positive seeds from the show. You know what I mean? And I just want to thank y'all all for tuning in. You know, I always appreciate when y'all take time to spend with me, because y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. All right, so you know what? Listen, y'all. So basically, no matter how far you feel like you drifted, right, you can always come back to self, you know. And even if you look at it from, you know, God perspective, God gives second chances. Right? God gives second chances. So, you know, really, you know, I would say make sure that you delve inside of self, get quiet if you have to, whatever it is that you have to do. Surround yourself with, you know, a positive support system, because it's okay. Also, you don't always have to isolate. You know, I think balance is really important, because sometimes in isolation, you get too far. And then, you know, because basically you just sit with self, which for some people can work. I just believe in balance, because even, you know, biblically, you know, hey, you was never really told to heal yourself. Now, for my scholars out there, hey, put it out there if I'm wrong, right? You might not be able to always heal yourself, right? So it's okay to go to, you know, like a wise counsel, if you will, or have that support around you to actually help you through some things, because sometimes you are in a space where you need somebody to intercede on your behalf. You feel me? I do it quite often, especially with my divine connections, people that I genuinely love, and, you know, just wherever I feel moved, I'm going to intercede on your behalf, right? Because sometimes you are in a space, you might not see it, you might be too far gone, right? So I just say that to say that sometimes it's okay. that can be a part of the journey as well. When you surround yourself with positive people that, want to lift you and, give you energy, however, whatever terminology you want to put on it. Right. So that's okay too. So, again, I just hope that this episode resonated with you all, even through the technical difficulties. It worked out, right? Just, trust in, God, divine timing and different things like that, and listen to your discernment, because that's really important. I always feel like what you need is with you. It's within, right? Everything you need is within. Everything is already working out around you too. For those that are feeling discouraged, sometimes you have to just believe and walk as though you've already won, right? It's okay to live by divine memory. You are who God says you are. That's okay, right? Just recognize that. So one affirmation I want to leave y'all with. I know I'm gonna go a little bit over time, but that's okay. It's my show. I can do what I want. It's just that my stomach be like, "Are you for real? I know you lying." I'm just saying, I know you lying. Hold on. Surround yourself with God-like people. Absolutely. You must absolutely do that. So let me bring this affirmation on real fast. Okay. Why be so petty? Okay, so my affirmation, because y'all know I like to do this every show. So I'm never too far gone for God's grace, right? Divine love now restores, renews, and uplifts me. The light of God goes before me. The love of God surrounds me, and his perfect plan unfolds for my highest good. All right. All right. Yes. Now, Holly, I promised I'd bring on your comment right quick. So what about those people, false prophets, when you meet? Then see they aren't as religious as they pretend. You know what? You got to study to show yourself. You got to study to show yourself, right? Bible scholars out there, because I don't ever claim to be that. I ain't claiming to be no guru, but you got to study to show yourself approved, right? And you have to use that discernment piece, like, Pastor was talking about. That discernment is everything. That inner guidance, that inner tuition. You have to really think about that. And I think so often, like, even whether it's a religious figure or, someone who has, I don't know, clout, if you will, sometimes those people are put so far on pedestals where you're not even like discerning yourself, right? You're putting all this faith into this person, whether it's an influencer, whether it's a pastor, whether it's a bishop, podcaster, whatever. You got to use your own discernment, right? And so that way, you can kind of determine who makes sense for your journey and who don't, whose words make sense and who don't. You are in control of that, and you should never let go of your power, because that is your power, right? So don't let that go, right? Just because a person may be, further than they walk or in a certain position, that don't mean that you're not blessed with that power to be able to discern and, get what you need from this life while you're here. So that's just what I'm going to say about that. One more, discernment. Yes, absolutely. That discernment piece is really, really powerful. And, even in New Age or whatever you are studying, intuition, discernment, divine intelligence, whatever it is, tap into it, right? Because that's going to help you on your journey, right? To avoid some of the pitfalls that we fall into, whether it's relationships, familyship, friendship, or whatever, because we didn't use that discernment. Use that discernment. It's there. It's there. It really is. I know life can be kind of distracting, but it's always there. Okay. So that's why I say it's important to have that support system. Sometimes that support system can keep that in front of you. And it's also important to have that time where you get quiet as well, because even in that quiet, you can discern things and things, knowledge and, stuff can come to you. So you just got to find that balance. And that's all I'm saying about that. You making us late. I know I'm about to get off of here because y'all about to hear my stomach. If y'all ain't heard it already, that stomach be real disrespectful. Just saying. All right, y'all. So anyway, shout out. Let me do my shout out. Thank y'all all. Thanks to my guest, Pastor. Thank you so much for joining me. To my listeners, y'all know I love y'all. Love and light to y'all. Whatever y'all going through, I'm sending y'all this positive energy and this love and light. Shout out to my mama. She didn't even ask me this week. She didn't have to ask me this week because I'm going live, right? Shout out to my mother, Lyric, the Grishams, Aunt Anna, my viewers, Music Man. Thank y'all all so much for joining me today. I really appreciate y'all. And of course, like I say pretty much with every episode, you got to love yourself, right? Love yourself, because it starts with you. All this starts with you, right? All this start with you. Be open, right? Be open, okay? Listen to that inner voice and live by love, because love is the most powerful superpower. I'm just saying. So anyway, y'all, I'm gonna get out of here because my dinner is waiting. I love y'all. And until we meet next time, peace.